everyone. Welcome to Wind Down Wednesdays. I'm your host, Paula Taylor, and this is episode 94. So tonight's episode actually came out of an announcement I was going to make in last week's episode, and then as I thought about it and kind of felt into it, I realized that it actually deserved its own episode. So we're going to talk about celebrating progress tonight, and I want to tell you where this idea came from. We're getting close to 100 episodes of the show, and so I've been doing some reflecting. So I want to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk a little bit about Wind Down Wednesdays as a show and the future of the show, and we're going to talk about ways that we can celebrate progress. So I've been listening on the podcast to the show, and I started at first kind of jumping around listening to the newer episodes, and then I decided to go back and listen all the way from the very beginning of Wind Down Wednesday almost 2 years ago. And I started noticing some interesting things. Like the first thing I noticed was how nervous I was in those first few episodes, how I could hear it in my voice. And so I started thinking about how much progress I've made personally through doing this show. How much progress I've made in my own spiritual journey, how much progress I've made in opening to new gifts like this gift of sound healing that through this show I have really opened up to and accepted, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that. So I started thinking about different ways of celebrating progress, and so I was thinking about, first of all, noticing how far I've come. Some of the things that I was saying in earlier episodes, I thought, oh yeah, I remember when I thought that way. Especially I was listening just this week to the scarcity versus abundance, and I was thinking about how much more in abundance thinking I am most of the time, but I still struggle with the scarcity stuff. And so the other thing I realized is that there's a lot of wisdom in these shows. I go back and listen to it, and sometimes I don't even remember saying something. I go back and re-practice the meditations. There are universal themes that we go into almost every week in this show that will, no matter how much progress you make, you probably still need to hear, be gentle with yourself. You probably still need to hear, you are inherently worthy. We probably all need to hear that we are made of the love, the unconditional love that is the source of everything. And so I started kind of thinking about the show and the future of the show and how, what I first envisioned this show as. And originally, I named it Wind Down Wednesday, and then the intent is right in the title. When I originally started this show, my intent was to bring some relaxation to the middle of the work week, especially. A lot of people still work Monday through Friday. They work 5-day weeks or maybe even 4-day weeks, but Wednesday is kind of smack dab in the middle. It's a day that I always used to kind of dread. There's a reason we call it hump day. You know, you're trying to get over the first part of the week and kind of into the end of the week, moving to the weekend. And so my initial intention for the show was just to do some relaxing meditations. And almost right away, it expanded beyond that. Almost right away, it turned into a weekly energetic healing session that involved breath work, which is a great way to move energy. And then after about 6 months, involved sound, which is my favorite way to move energy. And this is a really powerful show, and I'm going to toot my own horn a little bit here, but in a way that I am stepping out of my own ego, because this show, just like everything else I do, is 80% channeled. This is me just opening up to my own intuition, to the guidance of the universe, and letting flow whatever comes through. And what I realized is, I said a few weeks ago, even if no one ever watched the show, no one ever listened to the podcast, I would keep doing this because I have had so much growth. But something else that I say on the show all the time is that there is no difference between me and you. We are one. So if I'm having this much growth by doing this show, then I know that the people who are watching and or listening to this show have that potential to have the same amount of this huge amount of growth and expansion and clarity and harmony. And so the announcement that I was going to make last week that I'm going to kind of put in the middle of of what I'm talking about right now has mostly to do with the podcast. But if you watch the show live, usually stick with me because I'm going to talk a little bit about ways that you can support the show. So in the podcast, if you've listened to the podcast, in every episode up until last week's, there was an ad in the middle of the podcast, and it was just a short ad that I recorded for Anchor, which is the platform where I make my podcasts, and they kind of distribute it out to all the other places that you might be listening to it. And I started feeling like I wasn't feeling aligned with having an ad in my podcast. And to be completely frank, I have made almost no money off of that ad. It's basically like less than a penny a click. It's kind of like Spotify. When I put a song on Spotify, every time you listen to it, I get like 0.00001 cents or something. It's a little bit ridiculous. And so I decided I was going to take those ads out. But at the same time, it is my goal to do this work full time. This is really important work. And as I talk about pretty often, I still have a medical job that I work usually about 2 days a week. And eventually my goal is to be completely focused on sound healing and energy work and body work and teaching. And so it occurred to me that something that many people who work in this field with are very uncomfortable with is this idea of asking for support and charging for their services. And so I am taking the ads out of my show. I don't want them in there anymore. I don't feel good about having an ad in there. And frankly, it hasn't really accomplished the goal that I thought. When I first started, I was so new to this. I was like, oh yeah, I guess a lot of people have ads and I'll just do this and we'll see where it goes. So it doesn't feel aligned with me anymore. But I've also never asked directly for support. And so there's a few different ways you can support the show. Every once in a while, I'm going to bring this up. And just as much for me as for you, because I am opening space to be supported in this work so that I can do this work full time, so that I can expand even more, so that you can expand even more, so that we can grow together and create a whole new world. That is really what my goal is. And so you can financially support the show if you listen to the podcast. There is a note in the show notes that says show your support for Wind Down Wednesdays. There's a link. You can click on the link and actually donate financially to help support the work. But I fully recognize that not everybody is in a place to do that, and I have no expectations about this. Again, I'm saying this almost as much for me as I am just because I recognize I need to ask for what I need, and I need to do this full time, and I need support to do that. So if you want to support the show and you're not in a place where you can do it financially, or you don't want to do that, you don't have to do any of this. But there are ways to support this show that are completely free, that just involve a little bit of time and effort on your part. Tell somebody about it. Tell somebody that you like listening to Wind Down Wednesdays, that you like doing the meditations, that you've felt some growth in your own life. Share it on social media. Share it directly to friends and family. You can send a link to anywhere the podcast where you're listening to it. And on Facebook, if you're watching the show on Facebook, share it on Facebook. Tell people about it. Spread the word. I am trying to grow a community of spiritual love and support. And again, if no one ever watches this, if nobody supports me in any way, I'm going to keep doing this work because I'm doing it for me. But I'm also doing it for you, and I'm also doing it for the collective. And so that was the announcement I was going to make last week that sort of turned into a whole episode for this week. I'm not going to I feel like I'm going to be beating a dead horse, but I will once in a while bring that up. And again, I'm going to go back and take out all the ads from the previous podcasts. It's going to take me a little time to do that, so be patient with me. So let's talk a little bit more about celebrating progress, because I think many of us, probably most of us, are so busy moving forward, that we don't often take time to stop and look back. And again, I've been doing this show for almost 2 years. It's almost 100 episodes now. And I didn't really think about it until I went back and started listening to the early shows and realizing, first of all, how far I've come, but also how much awesomeness was in each show. I was like struggling for a word there. How much wisdom, how much growth. I go back and repeat the meditations, and sometimes I'm like, man, where did this meditation come from? It was awesome. And there's a couple that stand out in my mind, and I'm actually pre-recording this. So the meditation that will have aired last week, I have not done yet because I'll be doing it live tonight actually. I think that's going to be one of those really powerful meditations that I will come back to over and over again. And there's been several of those, and I always encourage you to do that. So looking back at how far you've come is one way to celebrate progress. My mouth is getting ahead of my brain. But sometimes I want to be clear here, we don't feel like we're making progress. And especially if you are in a place right now where you're in a little bit of a struggle, where maybe you're just coming into awareness of some trauma, or things feel really big, you're in a dark night of the soul. I was just talking about that with a client earlier today. That is still progress. It doesn't feel like progress. When you feel yucky and muddy and heavy and sad and grieving and overwhelmed, that doesn't feel like progress. But if you are watching this show, you are making progress. I guarantee you, if you are even open to letting these ideas come into your energetic field, if you are listening to the meditation, no matter how much you feel like you're able to participate or follow what I'm giving directions to you, the energy of these meditations is moving the energy in your field. So if you are watching this show, you are making progress. Whether or not it kind of feels like you're in a point to celebrate that progress, you are making progress. Again, a lot of times we just don't stop long enough to absorb. And that is what we're going to do in our meditation tonight. Every once in a while, we do a lot of really active meditations. And as I said, that is because this is a healing show. This is a show about bringing clarity, expansion, and harmony to your life, which brings clarity, expansion, and harmony to the lives of those around you, which ripples out and affects the collective. And so we do a lot of fairly intense healing work on this show. We move energy. We do guided breath work to move energy. I give you visualizations to move energy. We do sound that I use intention. When I am doing sound for a certain thing, I am setting the intention, for example, to extend our root system like we did last week. So the sound that is coming through is meant to help with that. And now I've activated my light language, and what I have found in my own work is that it is like a shortcut. When I use light language in a session with someone, whether it's a massage session, whether it's an energy work session, things move so much more quickly. Things release more quickly. And so I'm still building my tools. We've talked about spiritual tool building. And as I build tools, these meditations actually become more powerful, and there's more potential in there for this expansion and clarity and harmony, which are the words I like to use for healing, because healing is really about letting go. Healing is about remembering that our true nature is this expanded, unconditional love that we are made of. So sometimes celebrating progress is about allowing yourself to receive. We do a lot of very active meditations on the show, and every once in a while I will say, this meditation is for you to receive. So in tonight's meditation, as we usually do, I'm going to bring you into a state of relaxation. We always kind of need to let go of the fight, flight, or freeze that we've probably been in for most of the day and or evening. But then we're going to just do kind of a mini sound bath. And what I've realized about these sound baths, I've done 3 in person now and then the mini sound bath. The intention I set for the sound bath directs where the energy moves, how the energy comes into your field and makes change when you're open to it. So the intention for tonight's sound is celebration. Celebration of the beautiful progress that we have made together in 94 episodes of this show. And maybe you haven't watched all 94. Maybe this is the first episode you've ever watched. That doesn't matter. The fact that you are here with me means that you are making progress. You are making progress toward coming back to that remembrance of your inherent value and worth, of your spiritual and divine nature. So healing is about clearing our frequency of, as we've talked about before, expanding our field to hold this beautiful, immense, gorgeous, unconditional love energy that we are made of, and then bringing harmony back into the places in our body and field that have been in disharmony. And again, I use the word healing as a shorthand, but there's really 3 parts to it, as I just mentioned. So we're celebrating today or tonight or this morning or whenever you end up watching this or doing the meditation. We're celebrating progress. We're taking a moment to stop. One of the ways to celebrate progress is to take a break. And that sounds a little strange, especially if you're really on a roll. I feel like I'm in this awakening right now. I'm on a roll. I'm going places. Things are opening up. It's been very exciting for me in my own personal journey, and I see that reflected back in the work I'm doing and the way things around me are going. But it's still appropriate to take a break. Just because things are going well and I've got momentum, part of keeping that momentum, part of keeping that growth is taking even just one 20-minute meditation to be in silence, to be in appreciation, to come fully into the present and recognize how much progress we've made, how far we've come. And again, even if you're in that spot where you're not feeling expanded, where you're feeling like you're kind of in the yuckiness of that spiritual rebirth, or you're kind of slogging through the swamp of sadness, trying to deal with some things that are coming up for you, you are making progress. If you are here with me, you are making progress. That is a promise. Somebody asked me the other day in my medical job if I could 100% guarantee that they were going to heal from their condition. And my answer was, of course not. I can't 100% guarantee anything. I can't 100% guarantee that I'm not going to walk out the door and get hit by a bus. So what good does it do to focus on the outcome so much, to hold on to that outcome so much? Sometimes progress and healing and expansion is about coming back to the present, about sitting in the gratitude of what we do have going for us. And again, if you're in that struggle period, it might be hard to find that gratitude, but give yourself gratitude for continuing to survive, because the goal of this work is to move out of that survival mode, which is that fight, flight, or freeze that we talk about all the time, and into ease. Because when we're in ease, we can transition from survival mode into thrive mode. That is everyone's goal on this planet, whether they realize it or not. No one wants to be struggling. No one wants to be feeling like they're barely making it, like they're constantly overwhelmed. And how do we get from survival to this thrive mode, to this expansion and joy, is through this spiritual work. That I 100% do guarantee you that if you do this work, you will expand. But I don't know what your pace is. It is not my job to push people beyond the limits of their capacity. And so I would never 100% guarantee quote unquote healing, because I don't know what healing looks like for you. I talked a while ago about how for me, healing my infertility had nothing to do with actually birthing a baby, which would be kind of the conventional view of healing. Healing my infertility for me involved accepting it. So sometimes healing is about acceptance and letting things go as opposed to change. We don't know exactly what the outcome will be, and that is one reason that we practice meditation and coming into this somewhat detached state, this neutral state of love, so that we can let go of the attachment to the outcome, because that is where the joy comes in. When we are just along for the ride, it is a beautiful ride, and it's not always a fun ride. There's dips in the ride, there's low points in the journey. But when we recognize that staying in flow will lead us back to another high point, even when we hit those low points, we remember what it's like to get back into the high point. And what I have found is that my high points get higher and higher and higher and higher. And in fact, my low points actually get higher as well. When I lost Emmett, it was devastating, and I still am going through grief with that. I still randomly cry at times that something comes up for me. But I have so much joy in the fact that he shared his life with me. I have so much joy in the fact that I know that he's home with his brother, that even my low about that is so much higher than it would have been maybe even 5 years ago, and definitely 10 years ago, and maybe even 2 years ago. That is progress. All of these things are progress. So give yourself permission to enjoy the progress that you've made. Give yourself permission to feel some gratitude for the fact that you're even here doing this, that you're taking time out of your week and focusing on your own growth. Again, I can't guarantee the outcome of that, but I can guarantee you that focusing on your own growth and doing this work will increase your expansion, clarity, and harmony. And whatever that looks like for you, I hope it brings you joy. And that is what I find. I find myself, as I've stated in the last few episodes, completely overwhelmed with joy. There is so much, and here it is, there's so much beauty in the world. And we can't see it when we are trapped in that contraction of fear and trauma that every single one of us is carrying to some degree or another. But when we can start to let that go and expand and open up, we get access to that joy. We get access to our own inherent worthiness and our own true nature, which is love. Our nature is not fear, it is love. And when you start to experience that, it feels like coming home. And it starts to be this beautiful cycle. Sometimes we talk about a vicious cycle or a shame spiral. This is a beautiful spiral. This is an expansion cycle and spiral of joy and love and bliss. And again, it doesn't change the difficulties about life. It doesn't change that they happen. It changes the way we experience them. And that is huge. That is everything. That is why I do this work. So for tonight's meditation, allow yourself to receive. Receive the words and the intention and the love that I am sending to you to celebrate progress in whatever form it's come, whatever form you recognize it. Let this mini sound bath of celebration come into your field. Let this music come into your heart space. Allow yourself to receive and let go of any attachment to the outcome. Just be in the moment and enjoy it. That's what celebration is all about. So let's meditate together. So for this meditation, get as comfortable as you possibly can. Lie down. Put something under your knees to support them. Put something under your head. Cozy up with a blanket. If you're sitting up, provide support for yourself. Lean up against something. Maybe put your feet up. Maybe lie in a recliner. Whatever is calling to you, let yourself completely receive. And if you fall asleep during this meditation, let yourself drift off. That's completely fine. Make sure you're in a safe space to do that. But you might try this meditation if you're repeating it as a preparation for sleep. It's meant to be joyful and celebratory, but part of that is relaxation, is coming into the body and being at home with yourself. So take a few nice deep breaths in through the nose, sigh it out through the mouth. You can use that audible ha sound like I just did, inviting that relaxation, that ease response, vibrating the vagus nerve by using that sound. But after a few deep breaths, let your breath go tonight. Let it be natural. If you are called to move around a little bit, as I am doing now, do a little bit of stretching just to get yourself really comfortable. Sometimes in order to get the body comfortable, we need to listen to what it's calling for. So if it's calling for a little bit of stretching or movement, let yourself do that. And then come fully into your body. Let go of your breathing. Let your body breathe on its own naturally. As you need deep breaths, your body will signal for you to take them. You might find yourself yawning. That's an energetic release. Let your awareness come to whatever part of your body is contacting or closest to the earth. If you're lying down, let your awareness come all the way on the side you're lying on. If you're sitting with your feet on the floor, let your awareness come into your feet. If you're sitting on the floor, let your awareness come into that whole pelvic region. And just for a moment here, let those roots grow out into the earth from whatever part of your body is contacting or closest to the ground. And really take a moment to let those roots spread out. Think about a giant, several hundred years old tree and how deep and wide that root system is. Really let your roots support you here. And know that you can release any energy that's no longer serving you down into the earth, and the earth knows how to recycle that for the highest good. And notice that as you let yourself become rooted and grounded, you feel heavier, you feel more relaxed. You might feel sleepy, and that's fine. And then, as we almost always do, allow that crown chakra, the top of your head, to open and invite love into your body through your head. Invite that beautiful divine light and love we look to so often to come into your body. Your body is made of love in the energetic sense. So invite this substance you are made of to flow into your body. Remind your body that this is its natural state. Let that love and light flow in through the head and come into your face and your jaw. Let it come into your brain itself, into those thoughts that tend to spiral and run around, bringing some quiet here or not, and that's fine. Let this love flow into your throat and your neck, into your shoulders. Let it come down your upper arms into the elbows and forearms, the wrists and hands. Let this beautiful light and love come into your chest and upper back, into your belly and mid back, your low belly and low back. Reigniting your own beautiful love and light that perhaps you lost sight of in the busyness of this day or week. Let that beautiful light flow into your hips and pelvis. Let it come down the thighs. Really take a moment here to feel into this part of the body that we ignore. The hips, the pelvis, the lower part of the spine, the legs, the thighs. Let this love flow into your knees, down into the lower legs and ankles, into your feet. Allow this beautiful golden light and love to mingle with that wonderful, rich, dark, fertile support of the earth, of those roots. All of this energy is really the same at its source, but in this physical realm, we have access to experience different feelings of this energy, and what a gift. So if you'd like, as I get into this mini sound bath, into this celebration of progress, that is the intent for this sound bath, you can simply receive and let your thoughts go as they come up. Let them float by like clouds in the sky. If you'd like, you can think about the progress you've made in your own spiritual journey over the past period of time, whatever comes to you. Let that come to you intuitively, and you can do this meditation more than once. So you can do it with the intention of focusing on your progress, and then you can come back and do it with the intention of just receiving. But whatever space you're in, allow yourself to be receptive, open to this gift of sound, of celebration. Recognize that you are making progress every time you come to this practice. You are making progress toward remembering the truth of who you are, the beauty of your own inherent worth, of your own divine light. Yo. Oh yeah 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 yo yo yo. Oh yo yo yo. Hey ya Shaitanya. Hey ya Shaitanya. Allow this to reverberate in your energetic fields, in your body, in your mental space. Receive this celebration of your beautiful progress, of your beautiful soul, of the inherent worthiness of every part of yourself, even the parts that you have a hard time accepting. These are all divine light and love and beauty. Receive your own worth. Receive the remembrance of who you are, a divine being of light and love. So much access to joy and awe and wonder. Even in the struggle, remember that you will get back to a state of joy just by being yourself, just by moving through this work with breath, with love, with intention, with help, in whatever way that comes. Receive that help when it is offered. Receive that gift and be grateful. If you're in a space where it is safe and you like to do so, you may allow yourself to drift off to sleep here. You may let go of the guidance I'm about to give to come back to the room, to your conscious mind. Let that go and fall asleep if that is your intention. If you're ready to return, if you'd like to come back to your conscious mind, let yourself be slow. Continue to allow this energy, this vibration to reverberate in your body, in your heart and mind, in those energetic fields within and around you. Be reverential in the way you come back to yourself, in the way you come back to the rest of your morning or day or evening. Perhaps you feel called to take a few deep, intentional breaths. Allow yourself to do that, but only if it feels right, only if it feels comfortable. Let your intuition guide you here. But do introduce some gentle movement into the body, just to remind yourself that you are still here in your body. Maybe move your arms and hands, wrists, ankles and feet, neck and head. Slowly, again, with so much reverence and respect for yourself. And affirm with me out loud, if possible, I am fully present in my body. I am fully present in my body and I celebrate my progress. I am fully present in my body and I remember my worth and my birthright of unconditional love. And again, if you'd like, take another deep breath or two, move around a little bit more. Give yourself permission to take as long as you would like and are able to come back to yourself with respect, with reverence. There's no rush here. But when you feel ready, when you feel that you've fully arrived behind your eyes, when you feel that you've integrated this beautiful energetic shift, this vibration of celebration, of love and light, you may, if you'd like, gently allow that crown chakra to close or leave it open for the highest good. And one more time, feel that beautiful flow of love and light through the head and the neck, through the arms and the torso, through the belly and the hips, through the legs and the knees, the ankles and feet. Feel your beautiful root system extending out from the body into the earth, extending your range, extending your clarity and energetic fields all the way out to the edge of the earth itself if you'd like. Allow those roots to stay. You deserve that support as you move forward with the rest of your day, evening, or week. And when you are really ready, when you feel called to, very gently, you can open your eyes. Thank you so much for joining me. Celebrate your progress. You deserve it. Thank you for being present with me in whatever way that presents. No attachment to the outcome. I send you so much love and light and gratitude for being with me on this journey. Have an amazingly celebratory rest of your evening, day, and or week. Carry this feeling of celebration as long as you can. Appreciate your progress. You deserve that. And I will see you next week for Wind Down Wednesday.